Starting and we're live. Welcome everyone
Hello,
Cheers, everybody.
to the late sesh.
Late Sesh.
Got Tara, Nuttree, Big Pone tonight. I think we got Red and Becca coming. They might be a little late. Spartan's out for the count. He's a little sick, so
Yeah,
send
oh,
him good vibes. Maybe he'll
that's
eat some
better.
microbes or something and fix himself.
Yeah,
Recharge.
he doesn't ever get under the weather, so that's rare for him.
Yeah. So yeah, we're glad you guys can make it in chat. I know it's happy Memorial Day, so happy Memorial Day.
I
Hope everybody enjoyed that with their families.
appreciate everybody that's given their services and time and energy and love and life for
I
us.
think that's the ones that have passed is what today's about.
Yep,
That's what Fergali said. So,
yep. So
yep.
yeah,
So,
appreciate
let's
everybody.
see. We're
Yeah.
only gonna do an hour tonight, so everybody can just go to bed and get back to work tomorrow.
Yeah, back to the regular
But
ground.
I figure we'll start off. I know, Jay, you've been wanting us to bring up the subject of Star Wars.
Oh,
We were just talking about it. So I'll explain. I don't like the new Disney Star Wars. Not since I don't know what numbers these things are anymore. They're probably not even numbered.
yeah. I mean,
But
are numbered, but I don't like. You know.
once Disney took it over, like I just the plot, the acting, it just was okay. First of all, the first movie they brought back was the exact same plot as the Death Star, except the planet size. Like, are you lazy? Come on. And like I mentioned, then the main character and the villain are telepathically talking for like half the movies. It's just like I don't know. That's weak writing to me. It doesn't. To me, it doesn't have the feeling of the old ones, any of the old ones. But I also liked all the old ones, whereas like a lot of people didn't like certain ones back then. And so, but I think Disney tries to hit every mark. They want you to bring your kid. They want you to bring your teen. They want you to have a good time. So throw it in. It's I don't
Well,
know.
like, okay, so here's my opinion on this whole Star Wars thing. I mean, I am a huge, huge, huge Star Wars fan. I mean, I love, honestly, I love all of it. So but I have things that I dislike and like more than others. But I don't know. I really feel like Disney, because put a different swing on things. And I can't pronounce his last name, but John Farvar has been like one of the major like producer directors guys. Look him up. It's Farv some John Farvar. He's an actual actor, also comedian. Um, and he's kind of brought a different like spin to things. I feel a bit, and I haven't always liked all of the newer Star Wars. Like I'm a huge fan. Like Return of the Jedi is like probably one of my very favorites. But I'm also I love Jar Jar Binks just because he's silly and goofy, and I love his
Oh,
voice. And people get on me. They're like, "Oh gosh, you like Jar Jar? Oh my God, he ruined
but
everything."
see,
But it's like
see,
I like this.
yeah.
You know what I mean? I like
Let
the
me pull
silliness.
this guy up.
I like the silliness part that is brought into it also. So, like on that
But
aspect, see,
see,
it's this
I
guy.
agree. I agree with you. I agree with you on that because I used to like Jar Jar. I thought back then it was spaced enough. It was like a Jar Jar maybe twice a movie, like every 30 minutes or something like that. Every four,
But I didn't like the whole fucking Sith bullshit. So I wasn't into all that. So
What do you
there's
mean the Sith? What do you mean?
like when, like the Sith, I didn't like the fight. I mean, I'm more just like Darth Vader. That's all I wanted was Darth Vader. I didn't want the stupid Sith part.
Well, that's
Like
like Star
I
Wars
I
lore.
and I get that part of it, but like that's my most disliked part of it. So like I have, likes, dislikes,
Oh,
that. So
you don't like that? I see what you're saying. You don't like that they like branched off from the villain of Darth
right.
Vader and made a
Yeah, I
new
didn't like
villain.
all that.
Man,
And
Darth Maul was so
and
sick
I
though.
really did
When Darth
like the
Maul,
guy.
that was one of the most Star Wars epic moments in history is when
I
he
know.
brought out his red lightsaber and then all of a sudden clicked the other fucking side of it and
I know.
everyone went
And,
nuts.
and don't get me wrong, it's badass. But
But yeah,
this wasn't my favorite part of it. And the dude that ends up playing what's his Darth Vader in the long? I don't even know his name in the newer versions of Star Wars. I didn't like him. The guy that they had playing him. I don't like that dude. So
Oh, in
that
the Disney, the new
Mhm.
villain
so that
kid.
like
What's
turned
his
me off.
name?
I don't even know, but I don't.
Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren.
Yes, I
Yeah,
hated.
he's terrible. He's not
Fucking,
villainous. I thought he
fucking
was.
hated him.
Yeah.
And to me,
So
that
that's
like
what I'm saying. They brought that.
that ruined it for me.
You're supposed to you're supposed to top what you spent all this money in your Disney, and you're supposed to top what happened before, and you
Right
make
now,
Kylo Ren. He's
I
whiny. Exactly. I agree with that.
absolutely loved Obi-Wan. I just binge watched Obi-Wan, and I
What's
absolutely
Obi
love
Wan? Is that a
it.
series?
Yes, with Ewan
Obi
McGregor,
Wan.
it was phenomenal. It was so
Mhm.
good. So
Who made it?
Disney,
Disney.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
So
that's
yeah.
and I love Mandalorian.
See, I
So
Mandalorian.
thought that was such a marketing scheme. They could have done like a semi-rated R thing, and instead they made it a marketing Baby Yoda. And like
I
it
love
was,
Baby Yoda though.
uh, but
So
cool.
see,
But that's like not what Star Wars is. That's for like Cabbage Patch Kids and stuff. Like
yeah, but I liked
S-
the background
Star
on
Wars is badass
about
science fiction in
I liked
space.
it.
The only thing I like about the new Star Wars was there was one scene they did really well. It was a space scene where the lady, just the graphics though, was where they cut the one ship in half with hyperdrive.
I don't remember that.
Oh, they basically have no choice, or so, I don't know which movie it is, but they have no choice, so they have to. They're gonna die anyways, so in order to make sure that ship goes down, they like hyperdrive slice through it
Hmm.
and kill themselves, but also slice that thing in half. But back to the Jar Jar thing. So they're spaced out well in the old movies.
Yeah.
This John Favreau guy, this is the guy who made me not even care about Marvel because he's the one who's writing these 5 minute every jokes. 5 minute this every it's like you got to hit all these demographics when it could be badass superheroes blowing stuff up, stuff like that. I don't know. So Disney, I've torn away so far from Disney. I don't even watch the new Star Wars.
Oh, I do. So
Yeah.
obviously, I watch I literally just did a whole binge of it. I started at the quote beginning, in my eyes the beginning, and worked my way up.
Oh
So I
yeah.
like rainy days. That's what I do. On a rainy day, Star Wars is going
Yeah.
100%. One of them's going on a rainy day.
Hey, yeah. I don't mind that if we're doing the first six or whatever it's called. From
I don't. I don't mind them all. Now I'm really not into the newer ones like the. I think it was Solo is one of them. I wasn't down for
I
that.
don't know how many Disney's made so far, but they started pumping them out after they
The
bought
guy who they
Disney
got to
Star
play
Wars.
Solo was just like cocky and just I don't know.
Hmm.
I didn't care for the guy who played him, so I didn't care for that version of the Han Solo one.
Let's see. There's Oh man. Yeah,
I'm
but see, and right
definitely
before Disney got it, there what?
I'm definitely way behind on watching a lot of these. So I like the old ones, the original ones, and
Well, watch
um,
start with the first one Disney made and do it in order that they came out, and I don't think you'll make it too far,
no,
but maybe you will. I think the first one was Rogue One, a Star Wars story.
I don't mind that one. I don't mind that one.
That was the copy off of Darth. Uh, that was the copy off the Death Star plot.
Yeah, the
Yep.
chick
So
that
that
ends
was
up playing,
disappointing.
I don't mind her so much, but I don't
Then the
know.
Rogue. Then came the Force Awakens. That's with the girl Jedi. But
Yeah,
that's the one I don't like. She's sitting on an island talking to Kylo Ren for the whole
yep,
movie.
she does do that a lot.
Empire
That's
of
the thing I do with
Dreams. I
Kylo
don't know
Ren.
what that is. Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. I don't know if I watched that. The Last
That's
Jedi.
good.
A Star Wars story. Not sure what that is. I think that's it. Oh no. Yep. So I made one, two, three, four, maybe five or six movies off of it already. But that was another thing I don't like about them. If you know the term canon, that's like trying to think of another like Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings, right? Lord of the Rings came out in what 1970s, 80s or something. I don't know when he wrote it. Way long ago,
A
right?
long time ago.
So he wrote this stuff in, and let's say it talks about a city in Middle Earth that looks like this and does this, and this is the backstory of that city. And then Disney or somebody else comes and buys the rights to Lord of the Rings, and they say, "Yeah, that doesn't fit what we wanted to do, so we're changing that." And you can't change the canon of the original. And Disney has changed a lot of things where they were just like, "Yeah, we don't really care."
I just think you're right on there trying to get a lot of different demographics.
Well, that's it, and it's a money game in the end. But like, that's what sucks because it could be a lot better if it were. But that's with everything now. Video games, TV series. It's not about the art and competing like Showtime wants to beat HBO or anything like that, or Square Enix wants to beat EA, which is crap. But it's now just about who can lowest cost in, highest cost profit, I think. But
Probably.
that's just my opinion. But yeah, I want to bring that up. Yeah, see, the animated Clone Wars were good, but I don't think that was Disney. I think that was before Disney.
I think that was before Disney too.
Yeah, maybe
Not
they took it
100%.
over. I
I'm
thought they're
thinking
bringing it
about it.
back or something. I heard there's an animated series. It was really sweet. I think it was on Toonami. 2008. There's no way Disney had it back then. Yeah, created by George Lucas. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, and Disney's not a big like, hey, let's let people kind of do their own thing with our rights. You know what I mean? So like, there's no little guys that are gonna be making any Star Wars movies or directing them that might have some crazy cool ideas. It's the same people every time. So, but yeah, that's why the new Star Wars bugs me, Jay. I forget what else we were gonna bring up, but that was the first topic.
I got sidetracked with the Star Wars stuff, so I don't know.
Yeah, well, we could get there's the Game of Thrones crowd. They kind whoever had Game of Thrones, HBO kind of did that too. People say they butchered it, but I never read the books, so I don't care.
I tried to read the books, but there's so many damn names. It's really, really hard to keep up with it. So it was much easier for me to watch the
I
show.
can't read anymore. I'll just fall asleep
Mm.
after like
Now,
a
I
couple
did watch,
pages.
I did binge, I think it's House of Dragons, which is the prequel to everything, and that was phenomenal. Fucking great.
House of
And
Dragons. I
yeah.
see. I thought that was terrible compared to
Oh my
Game of
God, I loved
Thrones.
it. It answered so many questions. It gave me all the stuff leading up to it. I loved it.
Okay, lore wise, maybe. I guess I wasn't paying too much attention to that. I kind of knew it was gonna go on there, but I thought the acting was just terrible, and I don't
Mm,
know. But here's
I
the
thought
thing. What did you
it
think of
was pretty
Game of
good.
Thrones as a whole? Like, I thought Game of Thrones season one was the best.
Oh
And
yeah.
to me, it felt like they got new, cheaper directors as they went each season. So, like, two was a little bit worse, but still all right. One and two I could watch. Then they started getting really bad, and like, where again, they're trying to hit every demographic and they're having this drama fest and stuff like that that they didn't have before. Because in the first season, you got war scenes and battle scenes galore. Oh, here we go.
Hey,
Rebecca, what's up?
hey,
Rebecca. Hey, you're
How's
fine.
it going? No.
good. We just had to finish eating. We've been home all day, but like we didn't eat dinner till 10 o'clock at night. It's
Hey, sometimes that's how it is.
yeah. And Dog's he's got another ear issue, so
Oh,
Poor
jeez.
guy.
we're babysitting him 24/7, and
Mm.
he can't shake his head right, so we got to make sure his ears stay down, and he
Yeah.
likes to shake his head, so
Yep.
it's been
Yeah,
like
Frosty was notorious for shaking and scratching his ears and getting hematomas. And then you gotta go get him for surgery for that. It
yeah,
was,
he's got a hematoma, one that just
oh
formed,
no.
and we're
That
just trying
sucks.
to they will dissipate, so we're kind of hoping that maybe it'll go away on its own. Like,
I think it depends on where it is. Like, I remember Frosties were in the middle of the ear, and that's the thing with a hematoma is basically a bruise, but their body can't handle it, whereas ours can handle like an impact like that or something.
did you give him?
So it swells up. But I remember his were in the middle, so they had to do surgery, and it was so weird because they had to like stitch it flat all over the place and leave a tube in it,
Yeah.
and he leaked for a day or two.
Yeah, his other ear is cauliflower ear. He's got a one crinkly ear from being from having surgery in the past, and this one just blew up about a week ago. It blew up last Tuesday, and it was just the middle of it. Just at first, just the middle. They had a little quarter-size hematoma, and I was like, "Oh, that's not that big of a deal." We were trying to keep him from flapping, and
Yeah.
put a headband over his head and some stuff like that. And dude, within 5 days, it got to the tip of his ear, and now it's like half of his ear.
Yeah.
So we got an e-collar. We got a e-collar on, a big fluffy blow up e-collar, so that he can't like mess with it. And then we're keeping his ear taped back. We kind of just like, because I've had this done before, you kind of like, you have to just kind of keep it from flapping. There's some stuff you can get. There's a, what's it called? It's called the no flap head wrap, I think, is the thing. Dude, I think we got a fucking virus. I keep getting a pop-up saying that my hard drive is almost full, and we click OK, and it keeps popping up. So
Don't click OK. Click exit.
sounds like there's no exit. It's a fucking malware, dude.
Yeah, download Bitdefender.
Fucker, you fucking malware.
They got a free one.
Shit.
It's an old Mac.
Oh, there we go. Click it twice. And
it's an Apple. You can't hack an Apple.
I just
You
hit
can't
it
put
twice.
a virus on Apple.
Yeah,
That's what they used to say.
Ah, you little fucker.
That's why Apples are better. Now,
no way.
Well, we think it was Chrome that brought in.
Oh, blaming Google.
You know,
That's such an Apple user move.
Product now for many years. I have not had any issues like that.
No, honestly, you don't hear about it. Something with their OS. I don't know. But
I don't know.
But then again, I'm not getting into anything again.
well, that's usually the thing. What are you guys looking up? Chicken websites that are no good for you?
No, we don't use it. We don't
Black
use
market chicken dealer.
We actually don't use this computer at all, except for like streaming, and I'll watch Netflix.
Yeah.
But
Netflix has gone downhill. Speaking of movies and stuff, man, they don't come out with anything good.
Anything Rose has a good idea about using a tube sock. That is a good idea. We have these like dust
Oh
masks,
yeah, big old tube
socks.
sock.
They're like neck wrap socks
garters.
things. He has Katz's face on in tie dye right now. We found that a good couple of those wrapped on his head seems to work at the moment, but a tube sock would definitely be tight. His head might be too big for one of my socks. Maybe Becca's got a big old tube sock we could wrap over his head. That's not a bad idea though. That plus, so we just put like a ace bandage around his neck real quick, just with a quick tie, and then tape his ear to that, which seems to work. We just kind of like put a piece of tape around his ear to like hold his ear, and then tape the tape to the ace. That kind of seems to be working, and then put a head wrap over top of that. At least it gets him through the night and most of the day. He just got out of it. Of course, we were outside fucking cooking dinner, and we come back in, and he's out of the tape that had been in all day long. But
we've like took him with us to the store. We've like
he was fine.
Not done anything.
You give it like the bad ones. The worst takes like probably they say what was it like 6 weeks or something like that.
Unless it gets too big and infected.
Like yeah. So just trying to hope that it stays the size that it needs to. Just
you're good parents.
Go back. Well, like he's at the age where like anesthesia is kind of hit and miss at his age, so doctors would probably do the same where they just, pin it back and say, just keep an eye on him, let it naturally curl. And if as long as it doesn't get infected and it's all good, it'll you know, he might have another cauliflower ear. That's kind of what happens when the hematoma reabsorbs back into the ear. It just crinkles up, you know. It might not bond correctly, and he might be susceptible to getting them more in the future. So we're just going to probably have to keep his head in a sock, you know, and make sure his ears stay cleaned out so he's not shaking his head.
Poor buddy looks so so pathetic. He's just got.
He's just, you know, he's just got his like little head wrap on. He's just kind of.
He's just fine.
He's totally
with
cool with it. He
He's
doesn't
so
mind the
fine.
e-collar. He doesn't mind the head wrap. He lets me mess with it, touch the ear. He doesn't, you know, he's totally cool. He doesn't seem to be in pain. He's high, dude. He gives RSO and just.
He's high.
Rock and roll.
Welcome, Fergoli.
Little shake.
Want to
Cheers,
say hey?
guys. A little more than
Good day
fashionably
with
late
you.
to the late sesh.
We got a question in chat from Scott K. A grow question on the late sesh. Hey bros, I'm going to be running aero cloner, no dome. What temperature would you suggest? What humidity? 2x2 and HLG 100. I mean, I just shoot for 80. 79, 81. And I don't know, the humidity with a cloner, you don't really need to worry about the humidity, but
I'd actually suggest keeping it much cooler than that. And really what you're focusing on is your water temperature.
yeah,
That really should be the question. So your water temperature should be like in the mid to high 60s, maybe like 68, ish tops probably.
I think my optimal oxygen is at 69 or 70, I think.
Yeah, there you go. Now, obviously, you want your, in terms of VPD and all that perfect, type scenario, you'd want your temperature and your humidity a little bit higher. But man, if you're in an aero cloner, just roll with it. Just stick it somewhere where the water's going to keep cool, and you'll be good.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the beauty of those is you don't need a dome. You don't really have to worry about above the plant as long as that water's hitting the bottom of those what do you call them, discs, little cloner discs. But yeah, or hitting the bottom of the stem too. So yeah, worry about your water temperature though, if anything, because that's usually what makes people's cloners go bad is warm water, and then it goes anaerobic.
Yeah, you get
what?
one that kind of rots off or
It's
whatever. It's a little
funky, yeah.
and then like they all start doing it real quick.
Then it's inside the pump, and that's the problem too. And then your pump's gross. But a good water change too. Water changes are nice. Like
Yeah, I mean,
in the fish, when I had a fish tank, you do one once a week. So why not your if you, especially if you're those little cloner, the hand this big,
27 gallon tote or
you
whatever.
just dump that, So
yeah, I mean, really, the best case scenario for any cloning situation, doesn't matter the media, is really just fresh water every day.
yeah, well, yeah. If you could do it every day, that's
ideally, right?
Yep.
Not so much at a aero cloner maybe, but like even in my root right cubes, I'm trying to give them some fresh water every day if they need it. If they're too moist, I'm not. But I'm trying not to like leave water in the trays for like 3 days or something. It doesn't usually work very well.
No, I check my clones every day, see if I gotta dip them or dunk them, and then usually if you dunk, I find that I don't really have to dunk anything every day, even if it's busting out with roots. If I give it a good long sunk, dunk, I don't have to mess with it for at least not the next day, but the day after, at the most. But then that's about time you should be putting it into soil or cocoa anyways.
Right.
So
I'm actually kind of pushing some clones right now. I got a tree that needs to be transplanted. I was in there last night. I'm like, I'm so fucking tired. Like I just had a long day. I don't want to do anything but water.
Dude, I know that.
This big right now.
I sneezed and pulled something in my back on Saturday, and I still had to water. And I procrastinated that. I was massaging with this like vibrator thing. I was doing a heat pad, everything I could, and procrastinated. And then I was like, I still got water, and like I had to get out there. But that's bare minimum. So today and yesterday I was catching up on like transplanting and getting clones actually into cocoa.
I was thinking about that today. How like today's a holiday, right? And I'm like, My 2-year-old doesn't know it's a holiday. We can wear like, American flag shirts and red, white, and blue, everything. But she has, she doesn't know the difference. Same with plants, same with your pets,
Yeah.
same with your livestock. Like none of it knows that it's a holiday. They don't give a shit. It's not a day to take off, like
Yep.
for them.
Yeah, we went into work this morning. We just made a quick day, feed the plants and go. But
Yeah, I'll be doing that after our show tonight. I pushed it off.
I gotta go feed one half table. That's it. I just didn't want to mix a whole nother batch yet. I was like, I'll do the show and then I'll do it.
I think we still got downstairs yet in the basement one, but everything else is still good.
Yeah, we got a water downstairs though. They're light.
That's but that's the difference, the people that do it and the people that don't. That's really
That's why
a
we're
big
on
part
the
of
show
the
still
battle.
doing this, right?
Yeah.
Persistence,
So.
man. That's for sure. I mean, hey, I think in almost all aspects of life, certainly when it comes to a job or career or something of that nature, work ethic is almost always number one. Like
Exactly.
you can have money, you can have skill, you can do a lot of different things to get ahead, but work ethic is going to get you there eventually. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that says a lot, especially when you're looking for like employees or something. To look for someone that values and expresses work ethic.
Yeah.
It's hard to come by.
Ain't that the truth?
And the thing is, though, is like I'm really super nice to a lot of people, but man, I expect you to work just as hard as I do, and like that's probably a really big problem of mine. Is like I work a certain way. I have that work ethic. So like when other people around me don't have that, I'm like, what the fuck? Come on, let's get it. This can't be happening. Let's go.
The challenge is you get yourself into that, if you want things done, do it yourself mentality, and then you end up doing everything, you know what I mean? Then it's like
that gets old after a while.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
It's old. And I've been doing that for a very, very long time, and my give a shit meter is a little out right now. So yeah, people's work ethic, you bringing that up, that's kind of funny because that's like one of my biggest bitches ever is work ethic. I fucking hate people that are slackers.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're getting paid, if you're getting paid, it's like, you need to produce, you can't be just doing what you want. You need to do what's needed.
Yeah, it's one thing to like procrastinate work, right? And like maybe you're not getting paid because you're not doing the work or whatever, but like you still got to get it done. You know what I mean? Like,
like the plants still have to be taken care of. And that's the other thing, these plants are just willy nilly. I feel like, they're in a room or whatever environment they're in. They depend on us, you, I, the next person to take them to the next step, to get them water, to get them fed. So they can't do it on their own. So I don't know. I feel like, work ethic is very, very important in this business.
What's the longest you guys have ever left your plants and not like touched them, seen them, watered them, done anything? Maybe you had some, automation or something set up, but like what's the longest you've not stepped in your grow room? Or maybe even you had someone there to do it for you, but what's the longest you've not stepped in your grow room in one length of time?
So we went on vacation 2 years ago and had somebody help us. And so we were gone for 7 days and we freaked out the whole time because we were like, we were like, we're not there. But the person that we had taken care of it was somebody that we very much trusted. So we knew that they were in good hands. But it was very, very, don't you agree, very nerve-wracking to leave.
It was nice to know that the person we put in trust grows also, though. So
that's huge.
That's huge there. And then we bring them around, several weeks beforehand and show them everything, show them.
Also huge.
Yeah.
There was one time he came to water this recently, actually. It's a funny story. He went downstairs and we had everything upstairs, and I still had a tent downstairs with some old plants in it that had shriveled up, and I just let them go. I just like, fuck, forget about it. He went down there to go water. He was looking for the plants, he's like, these aren't going to make it.
He texted, he's like, we got a problem here. These are not going to make it. I was like, what do you mean they're not going to make it?
He was smart enough to go look upstairs for the real plants.
That's a shock.
He thought first.
I thought you guys were going to say he had a real green thumb and like had them all looking beautiful by the time you guys were home or something.
Oh, they were way gone.
Shout out to Highway 420.
Yeah.
He sometimes catches the show here and there.
And he definitely helps us out greatly here.
Yeah.
So couldn't do this without his help. So we appreciate it, especially when we're out of town. He really, really helps us. So his wife also helps me out from time to time too. So
Yeah. Good neighbors,
See-
good friends.
See, I've only left so far my grow for like 3 days, or it was 3 or 4 days.
I mean, we'll
And
look
and
for
I
the-
had the same
we'll
exact
leave them for the-
feeling. I had the same feeling. I was like, I don't want to be gone.
yeah,
I don't know. But I left it to someone who I work with every day. So like he's going to be able to do it. And
it's
I
like
don't
if you
know. Do you
know?
think I'm starting to think we got 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 6 growers here. You think we all like control a little bit?
probably.
Just at least a little bit. Yeah, I know for a fact I do.
Dude, I stepped away from my grow room for 10 days, 10 full days, nights, whatever you want to call it. And I know I've shared this on here when I got back a couple of years ago, but yeah, I stepped away for 10 days, and I think I'm enough of a control freak in regards to my grow that, I mean, I didn't even ask anybody to check on it for me.
Wow.
I just, I had cameras and everything, and obviously all the controls set up in place, and everything went smoother than I had even hoped or could have asked for. But yeah, it's certainly a nerve-wracking situation, like you guys said. But it's also nerve-wracking to trust someone to go in there and do that. I've heard a lot of horror stories from back in the day, when I first started growing, about people having their buddies come over, and just watering the plants or whatever. And all of a sudden they start pHing it to like the reservoir to some weird pH, and then feeding them, and just, causing all sorts of lockout. It's just, you're asking for problems, but that's
there's a difference between him and I's growing. So I mean, I even have a hard time like. Yeah.
Oh, you ever go over each other's show? What pH are you doing?
We definitely have some issues because
Yeah.
there is a definite difference here.
What are the differences? What likes or like what's Troy, Nut Tree like to do?
I'm probably more strict than he is.
One's a butt chugger, one's a top feeder, or
it's not so much of that. It's I expect everything to be a certain way, and I want it to be just right, and I want the leaves to be plucked a certain way, and I want it to be watered a certain way.
So like
I like to stress.
Like all right, but for instance, like you want like for instance,
the fucking plants. That means he's stressing me.
Nut tree is growing for extra.
Yeah, but you want to know how many milliliters went through that plant when he water or something.
No, I don't so much need that. I just need
Whereas he'll just water it.
Yeah, I just need to know that it was done and everybody was like watered through, and there was some, about 10% left. You know what I mean? I need to know that watered through and not just watered, because if you just water your plant and you don't get anything through the bottom, you're not doing anything. I want it to flow through.
Well, you're building up the ppms.
Yeah, and I don't want that.
Which you don't really want to do, but like it's definitely a useful tool to know that when you do have a plant that's like a little finicky on newts, just don't run it off in cocoa once, and it'll build up a little bit. But
well, and there's the difference. He likes cocoa and I like soil, so there's a difference.
Oh yeah, cocoa rules.
That's a difference too. Like you're not necessarily going to build up, so to speak.
Well, what are y'all running? Y'all are running cocoa, right?
No, we're running soil.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
Ran soil before either, so she's trying to make me run soil, and I like.
Oh, so you're running off in soil?
Oh yeah, I want
10% every water.
I'm not. I don't want to say much. I just want something. I don't want a lot. I just want something.
How often do you have to water? Every day?
Oh, I water every day.
No.
Only.
On some we water every day.
Depends on what.
Well, it depends the stage where they're at.
If it's in full flower.
Yeah, if they're in full flower, then we're definitely watering every day.
Yeah.
But
right now in veg, it's not in the the basement right now. It's colder in the basement. It's probably every 2 days.
Yeah, probably every third day we're watering. And even then, you can even push it a bit. Soil's forgiving. You can go. You don't have to If we were in cocoa, we'd have to water every day. Whereas in soil,
we just up potted to 3 gallons.
Yeah,
too,
so everybody's getting used to what we're doing, and We're getting ready
what's
to flower this week too. So
are you guys using nutrients? Like, what's your water, like your solution look like?
so we're using like M3 soil, and then we're doing Jax
3-2-1.
Okay.
3-2-1. Yep.
Okay, because I was just thinking you don't want to really run off in soil.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, it makes a
Unless
lot
you-
of sense in cocoa because every
I
day
just
you're
run it off.
essentially reinvigorating the entire
I want I want it to be
root
able to
ball.
run through, so I know that it's not just all sitting in there.
You just want to know it's
Yeah.
fully saturated.
Yes, I
Yeah.
don't want any salt buildup, so I like a little bit of some runoff, just so I know that it's flowing through.
It makes sense if you're using some sort of nutrient solution, even if you're in soil. I get that, but you definitely don't want to run off too much in soil because you can start washing stuff out, the good stuff too, you know. And where cocoa, it's like, yeah, you could just replace that in your next nutrient feeding, you know, but you can't really necessarily replace some of that stuff in your next feeding and soil, you know. That's why I just, you know, again, if you're 2%, 5%, 10% every once in a while, it's not a big issue. But I never even get a cocoa ran off too much. It just
I just want to see something. I don't need a lot.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah, I get that. I'm kind of the same way. It's like if I pour, you know, maybe like a 2-liter pitcher over my 10-gallon pot, and all of a sudden I start seeing it almost immediately start running out the side, you know. I'm like, oh, that's dry. That's too dry, you know.
It can be very
that's called
though if you see it coming out of the bottom, because if it is hydrophobic, it might not be going through the pot, it might just be going around the
Around the
sides.
edges.
that's called fake runoff at work. You want to avoid that.
You know, so I mean, you just really
You want to avoid getting tricked by it and thinking it's done.
all times. I mean, that can be difficult.
Different drying times too. Like I feel like if you water it when it's really dry, and then, you know, you don't let it soak, it sometimes can run.
Well, really, unless you're doing the dry back technique, you don't really want the cocoa to dry out too much at all. That's the beauty of cocoa is you can keep it wet. You can do 20 shot runoffs a day if you really want. But when it dries up, that's really cocoa's really notorious for salt buildup clusters. So you'll start clusterizing all the salts, and then the root touches that, you have lockout. And like we run Athena at work, and that's like I have to run off a lot more because I want to make sure I avoid any buildup because it's a high ppm. But yeah, but that's why I love cocoa though. You get in there every day, and you can do it. You can, you know, kind of control it more.
To a certain extent, maybe I'm a little lazy, and that's
I like organic
like
soil though. Like I like living soil where you're not gonna till it.
Yeah,
like that.
right now I don't know. Cocoa, I've never adapted to cocoa. No, you know.
What did they run at Freedom?
Cocoa.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And you know, it is what it is, and I did it, but it wasn't like.
But you're using Jack's 321,
right?
You're using Jack's 321. That's literally a cocoa recipe. You could just
I
stuff all that M3 with. All I use is cocoa, and I use Jack's 321, and so all of that weed that we get is literally only straight cocoa, no additives, nothing, no mixture.
Yep.
A cheap old $20 big old fat 1.75 cubic liter bag of cocoa gets us about 6 3-gallon pots. You know, with Jack's, I mean, it's pennies on the plant to run.
Yep.
Aside from the electricity, you know, that's cocoa cost. I don't know what the M3 mix is per 2-liter bag. But.
I've used it. I can't get past week 5.5 or 6 in M3. That's why I'm using Michigan mediums now. Not to knock M3. I know if Spartan was here, he'd be praising it because I know he's a fan of it. I'm pretty sure. I guess not to speak for him, but I'm pretty sure we've talked about that in the past. And I don't know. I've used a bunch of bagged, water only type soils, and I just couldn't get there with M3. That, and I noticed it seems pretty heavy on the perlite.
Well, I just don't think you need the amendments.
Might as well bring this up
if you're using a hydroponic solution as it is, because that hydroponic solution, Jax, is meant to be
on sale
with the inert media. You know, you can use rock wool, you can use cocoa, you can use peat, you can use whatever you want. As long as there's no nutrition in it, you're going to get. So, I mean, in a sense, you're kind of just wasting whatever's in M3 out the bottom, or you're killing it if there's
Absolutely.
any biology in it.
That's the other. So I feel like I'm being so. Here's the thing. So I'm using the M3, and then I'm feeding with Jack. So I'm like totally like.
Well, yeah, you're taking the cons of
Yeah,
cocoa.
I'm being stupid about it, and
No, but yeah, but
Synganics.
It is
But-
Synganics. It is
I
Synganics.
just
You can
like
definitely
so
cut down your. You can
but
cut
I
down your
stop myself
EC.
from using it. So it's a point that I like the swill.
Well, it's smart to use it if I wouldn't use Jack's 3-2-1 though. I'd use Jack's 1.5 to 1 to 0.5 or something like that. Like I'd cut your ratios in half, whatever those numbers are.
Or just feed
1.5.
every other or every
I mean,
third.
she just
You know what I
harvested
mean?
and it was fine. So whatever
Well,
they're doing is
that's the
working.
thing. is the obviously the plants are looking great. What I'm
Yeah.
thinking though at this point, hearing this is you probably have some great leftover soil. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That stuff's
So
probably
that's,
charged up.
that's the other thing. We just were talking about this. I'm reusing all of my soil. I'm nothing's
Yeah.
going to waste. I agree. I'm shaking out all of my plants using all the soil.
You
I'm
should get
reusing
some
everything.
some down to earth products or like
I'm just going to
like
amend what
nectar for the gods one shot and amend. Yeah.
We talked about this a lot
And then
last
you
night.
just
On
need
the,
water. Then you don't even have to mix anything. You just make water.
And that's the other thing. I really don't need to be using Jacks for a while, but we do.
Yeah.
But
So-
it's like they said, after like 5 weeks, they've experienced the
I would
nutrients
start in week
participating,
5.
so that makes sense.
Here, I would I'd right away start doing it either. If you're doing it every feeding now, I would probably immediately start every other feeding. That I think would just be a wise move because even not myself now, I'm not like even using recharge every feeding. I'm not using any sort of breeze. Sometimes I'm just giving them straight water.
Yeah.
Well, you're tossing your soil, right, Fergoli, into the not tossing it, but like you're not reusing your soil.
Not in not in the same pot.
Not in the
Put it that
same,
way.
yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
yep.
So yeah, but see, that's why I like living soil, like where you just keep the same shit because like once you have recharge, as long as something doesn't go really bad with your micro populations and decimate all the good ones,
Oh heck yeah.
you don't ever need to add recharge for microbes again
Mhm.
because you've inoculated soil and then
That's
they can
kind of what
live
I
in
was
that.
talking about last night on the live show was that once you have your mineral base down, like it's just a matter of getting all of your biology in place to mine those minerals because your minerals are going to take forever to be depleted. It's going to take years to deplete your mineral base.
Yep.
Can
You
you
just
pull
have
up
to have the right
M3 ingredients? I know we looked at Michigan mediums. but-
Yeah.
biology to mine that shit.
I want to pull up.
It might be all kinds of biology. It might be little bugs, and it might be microbes, and it might be
Maybe it was the bags were left outdoors at the grocery store for a few months and they collected some local biology. You never know.
biology.
Okay, go back.
Or even mycology.
Yeah, I mean, for us, a lot of stuff's going outside. So we don't really mind if it acquires some stuff, but if it gets rained on and saturated and leached, you don't want to
That's
lose
not
all of your
good.
good.
Doesn't even tell me. Hang on. Oh, here we go. What's
There
in
you
the
go.
mix? Using Papa's formula.
Yeah, I mean, if there's any kind of NPK ratio on that, you don't need to
Right.
run Jackson. It's full.
Guano-based fertilizer. So they use that in it. Our ingredients are searched all over the world, bringing together fair trade. That doesn't tell me what's in it, buds.
That's wild.
This
I'm
is
sorry, but
sketch.
this
That's
is
sketch as hell.
This is so crazy to me. They don't even tell you what the ingredients are.
Well, look at the page.
It could be synthetic.
Look at the description.
Is it OMRI certified or no?
7 words.
It could be synthetic. What are those? Dry amendment. Could be dry amendment.
Let's do it live. Click the call button at the top.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Call Swan.
Let's call
Or
Swan. See what's
call
up.
Bernie or call Uper.
Is it just loaded with little blue pellets?
It's loaded with perlite.
It's 0.0015, 0.0033, 0.0038. So that tells you right there there's nothing in it.
Yeah. All you need from start to finish, it says.
Yeah.
So they're out of like Grand Rapids area.
I was gonna
Big
show
Rapids?
this.
Yeah.
I think I use this for my soil, or I use Kiss
I
Organics
mean, it's a
mixed.
balanced ratio, but it's incredibly light.
Very. That's why I couldn't get past week 5 with it. I'm telling you guys. I don't know. So I wish Spartan was on here to refute it because
So I guess
Yeah.
with them running Jackson to it, it's not a hot soil. It's balanced. It's holding potassium. It's holding phosphorus. It's got a little bit of nitrogen. It's like a mildly fed. What was the base media on that? I didn't see if it was cocoa
there's
based.
no
There is
information.
none. There is
Oh, it's
no
not. So we
information.
don't know if it's cocoa or peat.
I'll tell you, there's a lot
The
of
bag.
perlite. I know I keep saying it,
It's
but
like it's holding a
Yeah,
line.
I know it uses Papa's
feel like
Perfect
there was a
Poop
lot of
as fertilizer, which is guano based
happy
fertilizer.
frog in that.
Guano-based fertilizer.
Yeah. Like if I click
Is it
this, I'll
claiming
show
to be
you.
organic? What's the organic claim?
Here, I'll bring this back up real quick. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There is no like we're organic because of this. It says using Papa's formula, so it's like fortified with fossilized
All
seabird
organic
guano,
soilless media.
rock phosphates, and much, much more.
Rock
Growing organically
phosphate.
has never been easier. So I click this, and it's some other company.
Rock phosphate's a 6-month.
100% organic fossilized guano-based fertilizer. It looks like bird
are they
poop.
just like reselling this with like perlite and some other things in
It
it?
sounds like it. So I'm
Hey,
not
go
sure.
back real quick to the previous
Seabird
page. Look at number
guano.
2, right where your mouse is.
Water lightly when
guano
they are
for
small. Do not
phosphorus.
overwater. M3 holds water for longer than most soils or mediums.
It's probably the
Surprised
same.
a lot of peat.
And 3, look at 3.
3, we ask you that you please do not add other nutrients as M3 does not have.
Does have.
Oh, we asked you. Wait, what? We asked you that you please do not add other nutrients as M3 does have. Okay.
It doesn't. Well, not in my
Well,
experience.
yeah, but I'm all about building your own anyways. Like, go get the down to earth, research what you want to put into it, make your own mineral kit, make your own compost batch, and then get a bale of what is it called, peat.
Hmm.
You can get the ones though that are like from the bogs that they make sure are more regenerative or something. They don't just decimate it, something like that. It's up in Canada, and those are good because they also have really millions of years of old microbes. But make your own soil is all I think, and then inoculate it with the microbes you think you want, recharge or mammoth pea, and then boom, water. That's why I liked organics because to me it was, I don't want to say easier, it was more relaxing.
Yeah,
Especially if I did a 100-gallon pot or something crazy big. I water the crap out of it one day, and I'm not messing with it for a while, and that was nice. Or I can get the blue mat. The blue mat system was kind of cool. It was kind of hard on a 100-gallon radical bag, but I think that's because that thing was tall and not short and squat, and so that was the hard part of getting the moisture even throughout that tall bag. But the bed I had a 4x4 bed that was way easy. I just did a spiral blue mat tape, and that was I kind of miss that easiness, not easiness, but relaxing grow.
I've got
It
you
is
just made
easier,
me
I
think.
guess, because I'm
Four
not
by
in there as
four.
much.
You made me think
Yeah.
about 4x4s, and I took, I think I mentioned this maybe like, I don't know, beginning of this year or something. I took my old Botanicare flood and drain reses, drilled holes in the bottom of them, put some cheesecloth over those holes, took a bunch of old sticks and logs from around my property and covered the bottom of it. Took all the old like organic soil that I've been using indoors and broke it up over the over those sticks and logs, and basically built 4 like raised beds out of my Botanicare reses, and
Oh, nice.
had some issues growing things in it last year because the squirrels just dug everything up. This year, the fence is in place, and I think something may have gotten to my watermelon seeds, but we got watermelons in one, the Big Macs, pumpkins in another, and then yellow squash in one and green squash in another. And I'm pretty excited. Like, they're all starting to pop up and stuff. So I'm excited to kind of see how they do this year. But you know how like you're supposed to do like squash and whatever on like a mound, like you're like a hill or whatever. Like, yeah, why not just use old reservoir, throw these things out there.
Squash.
Yeah, and just let them
That's like
kind
one of the
of
most
hang over.
PM ridden vegetables out there.
Well, yeah, anything with those big leaves like that,
Ugh.
you know. Cucumbers too, man.
I had one
always feel like
accidentally
cucumbers a
grow
lot.
in my front yard, and I was get that out of here. I didn't even want to walk near it, but
I grow squash all
can
over
you grow
my yard.
squash without PM if it's like in full sun?
You can grow cannabis
Yeah.
all around squash with PM, and your cannabis won't get PM.
Yeah,
Different
it's true.
strain or something. There's like
Well,
300
no, it's
strains of.
It's just a hardiness of plant.
Yeah, yeah. It's just it's individual plant health and everything.
Squash
But
is very susceptible to it.
Well, we have a lilac, a
Right.
huge lilac that gets PM, right? But nothing else around it will. And
Same.
it's just that gets infected. And then like maybe a pumpkin will get it, but it kind of goes away. Like it kind of fights back.
What I've noticed is
the lilac garden. So
our lilac bush experiences the same thing every year. When she's looking kind of she's blooming right now, but she was looking pretty rough at the beginning of this spring. But what I've noticed with the PM, the only way to really like avoid getting it on some of those bigger broadleaf type viney vegetable, squash plants or whatever. And I really got this from Rosemary's Oasis is you got to like not let the vines just be growing through the grass and through other plants and stuff. Like, so that's why I moved it from a melon patch essentially to these reservoirs that are sitting on top of mulch, because I know that if I grow my squash, melons, pumpkins, all these things on top of mulch where the vines are just kind of traveling on their own, not going through weeds and whatnot, they're not going to be dealing with a bunch of like local humidity, and that also keeps the fruit from like rotting quickly. So
it'll help. Yeah,
it's a big challenge, but man, it was a even worse challenge to like pull weeds and just try to mow around these vines that are growing like 30 feet through your yard and stuff. So yeah, I don't know, we'll see this year. I'm sure it'll work better, but we'll see if we get PM, I guess.
You'll probably get PM. I don't think it's avoidable. I mean, it's just it hits, and the squash is right. It hits, when the evenings get cool, when like the end of July.
I was gonna say it's Michigan, right? Like it's kind of unavoidable with our climate.
We get these hot, humid nights, and it. I mean, the cannabis is. I mean, it's like a different beast, man. There's like, I don't know if it's genetics, if it's environment, if it's a combination of the both. I mean, I'm sure it is, but I try not to stress about most things, and we just grow plants as if we were growing our garden, and we have some stuff like kind of laid out. Now that our garden's big enough, we have enough space to like have, this is a section for this, for that, but we're still like we're still allowing like flowers and like all kinds of like diversity to be growing everywhere. Like, we're actually growing watermelon around the base of our cannabis this year, specifically our 4 main crop. We're gonna have a trellis. Well, that cannabis is gonna provide a great shade structure for some stuff to grow beneath it. Lettuce, anything that needs a little bit of shade. Watermelon.
Peppers apparently need
pumpkins just get fucking huge, dude. The leaves are fucking 3 feet tall, and they do like they end up starting it. Whether or not it's the PM on the pumpkin that gets on your cannabis, just the fact that pumpkin plant is shading up that whole bottom portion is just pointless, and like leaf stripping like becomes a big issue at that point where you really have to do it. So we're going to do watermelon as much finer leaf. Smaller leaf plant, so we're gonna vine ground cover with those.
Yeah, right. Ground cover. It's
one area.
We're doing a bunch of different experiments, kind of all at the same time. We're kind of testing out cannabis in all different kinds of beds and seeing where it works in our garden or what it grows best with.
That's cool.
There's a lot of microclimates.
Yeah,
a lot of microclimates.
Mrs. Frigroli is interested in doing that too. She's taken a bunch of seeds and started them, and she wants to put them all over the property. I'm like, hey, you just got to make sure there's no males. I don't want no freaking pollen all over. Keep track of where they're putting those. I think actually did all the whole layout today of all of our different beds and try to, what's in the 4 reses, what's in the 15 10-gallon pots, what's in the 12 or so 50-foot rows or whatever we have, what's in this patch, what's where. I think we have a total of 43 different strains of plants going, if you will. Like, for example, we have 4 different corns, 4 different flavors, strains of corn. But I think, and it's all from seed, and only one of them is a seed we harvested, and that's the sunflowers. We're on like Gen 4 or something at this point. But like I mentioned last night, and thank you again to Rosemary's Oasis, we're doing almost entirely Baker's Creek seeds this time. Some of them the same, Big Mac's pumpkin that you can get from Burpee. We're trying it from Baker's Creek. And we'll see. But 43, we're pretty excited about that.
The Big Macs is what we have. I think we're on its third year this year.
Nice.
Yeah,
we just keep taking the biggest
one. Yeah.
That's exactly what you need to do.
That's awesome.
Gonna slowly create that 1,000-pounder.
Right.
My own backyard.
I watched a time lapse of someone growing one of those like in their backyard, and like in a city backyard, one of those like 15-foot wide by 25-foot deep, 10 feet of grass kind of backyards. And he had just one single pumpkin plant going back there right off his porch. And he, it was just put everything he could into growing this one pumpkin off of it. Had the shade going, had it, moving around.
Sure if I use a little Jack's 3-2-1 on that back there, a little something out of
James and the Giant Peach.
Can't do it back there.
Dude, that movie scared me. That movie haunted.
Well, it is like that creepy like claymation.
It is creepy.
I did think that for sure.
I remember just being so scared about having to go inside a pumpkin and like get out.
Is that a real? Do they make us get into a pumpkin
when I was a
at some
kid?
point? Or do we have to get them?
No,
that'd be a
Cinderella
burial.
James the Giant Peach.
That'd be a decent coffin.
I thought it was like scary because like, oh, you're gonna have to live on this giant fruit floating through the ocean.
I don't know what scared me as a kid, but
fruit aren't designed for ship travel like that.
Well, it's water dynamic.
Yeah. Well, and then they were hollowing it out though. So like I was like, oh, if it rains, you're gonna fill water and boom, sink. But they made it. What you got there for Rolly?
But you got to think that it could provide you with nutrition if you get hungry. You could eat a little chunk here and there. Cook a little bit with your dinner.
They grow so ugly. Like it's such a nub right now.
What a boob!
Wow, that's super cool.
So they're keeping the melon away from all the elements.
Yeah.
But, all the leaves and everything, of course, you got to get the sun and everything. But look at that can just getting pushed over.
That's crazy.
Look at the leaves.
It's only been 2 weeks
during the day. Melons and squash have a very interesting thing where the leaves will droop to conserve energy, and they'll almost look dehydrated.
Holy
and you'll
God.
want to water them, but they don't need water necessarily. They're just keeping themselves cool by not uptaking water.
Look how big that thing is.
29 pounds a day, guys. 29 pounds a day this thing is growing.
That's nuts. That's nuts. You're
I
gonna do
wonder if
that.
you could hear it grow, like
Right? Oh my God. Can you imagine just getting macro dosed and just watching this for one day?
Yeah, you could literally. Yeah, I can see
Oh
it
my
grow.
Lanta.
That's awesome.
Live inside it.
Well,
It's like
Yeah.
my fears.
we got a minute left because we're gonna do a short show on Memorial Day. Let everybody get back to the garden or go to bed.
Can we get a seed out of that pumpkin? Well, how many seeds do you
Dude,
think?
they're not expensive. Those giant pumpkin seeds.
They were like $100.
Let me see if I can look it up really
I was
fast.
gonna say for those ones, they gotta be like
It's like kind of
At
the
least
realm of
$100.
cannabis. It was like
World class gardening. What is that? I don't know. 109. Yeah, $200. 175. $100 for 2 seeds. 95 for 2
Holy
seeds. This
fuck.
guy won 2022. Let me
I'm
pull
not
this up.
surprised. Well, how big was the winner?
Pumpkin seed.
They got pictures.
Oh,
Here's
Yeah,
the
I guess we're all growing
$200.
pumpkins from here on out.
Here's
huh?
the $200.
Hell yeah, I'm on your.
All right.
We're growing
Here's
some
here's
more
like
pumpkins.
95 or $50.
What if
You
we
can get
grew
a
a
nice
1,000
pumpkin.
pound loofah?
Loofah.
Yeah, there you
That
go.
would be awesome.
Those are big
Yeah,
business.
yeah.
How'd
What,
you
what's
get it
we're
that
gonna
way?
we're gonna take it above pumpkins. We're gonna go 1,000 pound watermelon.
Awesome.
I like it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna go cantaloupe just because the chickens like it so
There we
much.
go.
I hate.
I want a
cantaloupe.
giant grape.
Well,
Great.
Giant grape. Dude,
Or-
can you
yeah.
imagine the wine that would make?
or
Squishy.
yeah.
Yeah, jump on it.
He just bounces right off it.
Well, you can pop it and just drink juice.
Yeah, just stick a straw right into it.
Yeah.
Blueberry, dude.
Oh, can you imagine the raisin that thing would provide? Woo!
Oh, I hate raisins. That'd be gross.
Don't leave it outside.
Big
till
old
then.
a giant
All
one.
summer.
Cheers,
All
guys.
right.
Happy Memorial Day.
Cheers. Yeah. Have a great Memorial Day. Have a good week. We'll see you.